Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, February 15th, 2022. It is 2 o'clock on the nose. My name is Ty Menser, Vice Chair of the Board. The Chair, Commissioner Carolina Mejia, is excused today. Commissioner Gary Edwards is here in the boardroom, and the County Manager, Miro Chavez, as well as various staff members. We're calling the meeting to order. This is a virtual meeting and it is live streamed for the public to follow along on the county YouTube channel. We also have a conference call option at 360-252-9020 and the PIN is 1234. We're going to start today with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Edwards.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We would also like to start today with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the indigenous Salish peoples who have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial and who still inhabit the area today. Specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and remember history as a stepping stone towards healing. With that, I would ask for a motion regarding approval of today's proposed agenda.
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the agenda for today, Tuesday, February 15th, 2022.
I second that motion and call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Menser.
Aye, the motion carries. We have an agenda. Motion regarding board meeting minutes from February 8th.
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the board meeting minutes from February 8th, 2022.
I second that motion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Menser.
Aye, the motion carries. Board meeting minutes approved from February 8th, 2022. Now is the top, we don't have any proclamations or presentations today, so we'll move directly to opportunity for public to address the board. The Board of County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public at our Tuesday board meetings. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to be sure they are appropriate. Please introduce yourself when you're called. Introduce yourself, including the area of the county in which you reside. Address the board. That's not really applicable. You'll be addressing, silence your cell phones. Board will not respond directly to public comment, but on an as-needed basis, the county manager may follow up with specific items either today or at a subsequent board meeting. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes. You'll see the clock up there for your convenience of reference. Meeting attendees cannot donate any of their time to a different speaker. Board reserves the right to restrict the person's opportunity to speak for good cause. No comments that are lewd, offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind, comments that are commercial in nature, or comments about pending elections or land use permits or similar matters that could become before the board on appeal on a quasi-judicial basis. Finally, all written materials provided to the county may be considered public records subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 RCW. With that, we'll have the county manager just kind of walk through who is on our Zoom to see if there's anyone who wants to give public comments. So just wait to be called and then you'll have 4 minutes.
Thank you. I'm going to go through my Zoom screen and I will call you based on the order that I see your name. First on the screen, I have sorry, am I muted? Am I muted? No. Ms. Jodie Elliott, please go ahead. You have 4 minutes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Jodie Elliott and I'm here to talk to the commissioners. I have a question. I'm a county employee. I've been in the county for 40 plus years. I opted to do weekly testing with the COVID test back in November. And I would like to know when I'm allowed to stop paying for the weekly test or to do the weekly testing. After several months of testing, I'm asked to being either stop or stop paying for it. Several vaccinated coworkers and one family member of mine have contracted COVID since I started testing in November. It is my belief that we should all be tested or no one should be tested, or that we should all pay for it or no one should pay for it. It's getting expensive, and it's hard watching my coworkers who are vaccinated contracting COVID, and they are testing when they have symptoms, and I'm testing when I don't have symptoms. I was tested 2 weeks ago, and my test came back negative. A coworker who was at home tested positive and identified me as being in close contact. So later that afternoon, I was sent home. I had an hour left of my work day. I was told not to return until February 11th. And that I was also told that the health department would contact me. No one did. I test weekly. My test came back negative and I was not able to use that test result. So I would like to know, why am I paying for something I don't get to use the result? Also, my coworkers who are vaccinated are testing when they have a symptom. They can go to any testing site, they can use the home test, and they get to use those results. And they don't have to pay for it. Their insurance is paying for it. And so it just doesn't make sense right now. And I'd like to know, when can we stop this? And I'm doing what was asked. I could either be vaccinated or testing. And so I'm doing my part, and I'm just not being able to use my test results. I have tested negative every week. And I'm testing when I feel healthy. And my coworkers are testing when they have symptoms and more than likely are contagious already. And we've had several coworkers in my building who have tested positive for COVID, and they are vaccinated. And at this point, I don't see the incentive to be vaccinated because everybody around me is vaccinated and is testing positive. Not everybody, but a handful. So just like to know when I can stop paying for it and or testing. Thank you for your time, commissioners.
Thank you, Ms. Elliott. Moving on. Next, I have on my screen Mr. Gregory Moe. Please go
Thank
ahead.
you. Thank you, Mr. Chavez. Your weekly real estate, actually halfway through the month of February, active listings as of about 10 minutes ago, we have 134. That's single family residences and condominiums. And pending sales, which is a big indicator, both residences and single family and condominiums, 477, which means 477 of either single family residences or condominiums currently have an accepted contract on them.
Thank you. Next on my Zoom screen, I have Mr. Joe Hanna. Would you like to provide testimony this afternoon?
Not today, thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Next on my screen, I have Ms. Juanita Torman.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would like to present testimony.
Go ahead, you have 4 minutes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of small businesses in Thurston County. My name is Juanita Torman. I've been the chairperson for the Thurston County Bountiful Byway Advisory Committee for 6 years and own a venue in Thurston County. I volunteer on this committee because I have a passion for this movement. I've been with them since the beginning, and I am very supportive of small businesses. I am here to support of adopting Section B 103.1 of the International Building Code to provide small businesses the ability to meet required codes of Thurston County. Section B 103.1 reads, decreases. The fire chief is authorized to reduce the fire flow requirements for isolated buildings or a group of buildings in rural areas or small communities where the development of full fire flow requirements is impractical. Adopting this code would allow Thurston County Fire Code officials some flexibility in working with buildings in rural areas to meet reduced fire flow requirements when it is impractical to meet full fire flow requirements. This would give our small business community the opportunity to grow and provide them a more even playing field to be successful against some of the corporate industries that we currently see everywhere. We need these logical codes to add diversity to our county and encourage small business owners to come forward and be in compliance. Impractical. To require structures for seasonal use, structures that are not heated, or rural area businesses to meet the same code that the corporate structures must meet. This flexibility would allow small businesses that otherwise would not be able to conduct business because of the impractical, crippling cost of installing fire protection to meet the full requirements to be a participating part of our community, and it would aid the building industry by reducing the fire codes and costs that have to be met in rural areas. I'm not asking you to create a code. I'm not asking you to change a code. I'm simply asking you to adopt one. Adopt an existing universal code for the purpose of allowing some flexibility. Please adopt Section B103.1 to support our small businesses in Thurston County. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Ms. Torman, this item, I believe, is part of the development code docket. The Board of County Commissioners will be assessing in the upcoming days. Have you provided written testimony to CPED?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, so we'll take that testimony when the board addresses the development code docket. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next on the agenda, on the Zoom meeting, I have, let me go through this. Mr. Jason Gano, you'd like to provide testimony this afternoon. No, moving on to Mr. David McAfee. Would you like to provide testimony this afternoon, sir?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Ms. Christina Janis. Would you like to provide testimony this afternoon?
No testimony this afternoon, other than I can't wait to see you guys in person again, hopefully soon. So thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the testimony on the Zoom. Let me check the conference call. Good afternoon. For those members of the public who have joined us via conference call this afternoon, if you would like to provide public testimony this afternoon, please unmute yourselves, state your name, where you reside in the county. You have 4 minutes. None, sir. Public testimony has concluded.
Okay, thank you, County Manager. Next item is County Manager's update.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to follow up to public testimony you received last week, and that's from Ms. Susan Yoakum. And it was related to the fireworks. Her testimony included 3 elements. The first element, she was asking the question as to how the public knows when the Board of County Commissioners will meet and discuss any particular item. We are required to post any agenda items the board will be considering in any meeting 24 hours in advance. And for the most part, we do that way in advance of the 24 hours. So I will encourage Ms. Yoakum to look at the county's website. That's where we post all the agendas for the upcoming meetings the Board of County Commissioners will discuss. Also, the second part of her testimony was related to some of the recommendations that she submitted as a result for the board to consider changes on the code related to the fireworks. That was an extensive series of recommendations, as she stated. Also, she provided some additional written testimony last week for the board. And on Tuesday, February 1st, 2022, the Board of County Commissioners was presented with this information before you. And you consider all the many different requests, and also you ask the fire marshal to provide a response to Ms. Yocum, which he did, I believe, today. Also, the board considered many diverse views of residents throughout the entire county on restricting fireworks and learning of input received from previous explorations of this topic. And at that point, the Board of County Commissioners determined that there will be no further exploration of this code at this time to increase any restrictions on the sales, discharge, and consumer fireworks in the county. And that has been communicated to Ms. Yocum. The third part of her comment was related, what happens when the county may exercise the current ordinance that we have in place, where we could ban the discharge of fireworks based on hazard weather conditions. And as a matter of perspective, back in June 27, 2016, the Board of County Commissioners approved Ordinance 15308. In this particular section, included the statement that amended the code 6.68 of the Thurston County Code. Chapter 6.68 of the Thurston County Code is specifically related to the emergency ban on discharge of consumer fireworks states. The county manager, after consulting with the fire marshal or other official as may be deemed appropriate, may prohibit the discharge of consumer fireworks during periods of extreme fire danger. This prohibition shall be in effect 1 day prior to the date consumer fireworks may be legally sold under Chapter 70.77 of the RCW. And this is important. RCW 7.77.395 states the legal sale of fireworks across the state, the first day will be June 28th. So it is important for us to go through this process. And as an example, this past year in 2021, we begin the process of assessing, and that started on June 4th, 2021. And we develop a process where the emergency services, as well as the CPA director, the fire marshal, will be monitoring the weather and water levels data. That includes the Washington State Department of Natural Resources Fire Danger, the National Interagency Fire Center, the NIFC models, the European weather models, as well as the Thurston County level warnings. So by mid-June, we continue to observe all the many different variations of the weather. And about June 15th is when the county manager brings this matter before the board just to provide an update as to the current weather conditions. By late June, then the directors of emergency services and the fire marshal, in coordination with the fire districts and all the data that I just stated, provide a recommendation to the county manager, and the county manager make a determination based on that perspective. Last year, we exercised a ban on the discharge of fireworks because of the weather conditions. That was issued back in June 2021. And some of the elements as to how, and that was part of Ms. Yocum's question as to how we disseminate this information. So we issue a news release. We also we posted in social media, and also we made communications here at the Board of County Commissioners meeting. We posted it on our website, and this year, if we get to the point, we might be exercising the option of the TC alert. And the TC alert is a push notification to all the cell phone numbers who have registered when an emergency is worth sending push notifications. I believe I covered all the three elements that Ms. Yocum provided testimony on last week. If the board has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those.
Commissioner Edwards, anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's go to our, thank you, County Manager. Let's go to the consent agenda. We have items 3A through 3H. Is there a motion regarding that agenda?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve consent items A through H.
Second that motion. It's non-debatable, so we'll go to the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye. Motion carries. Items 3A through 3H are approved. Okay, on to 4A, a human resources item regarding a contract award for classification and compensation study. Maria Aponte, our Human Resources Director, will present some background.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Maria Ponte, HR Director, and I'm here today to request your authorization to execute a contract with the Siegel Company to conduct a countywide classification and compensation study. The cost of the study is not to exceed $170,000. And key deliverables include updating of our classification specifications. We have approximately 250. They will be updated with the participation of our employees, providing updated information on their day-to-day. Supervisors get to participate in that process as well. In terms of the compensation study piece, we have asked the consultant to look at the comparables that we currently use as peer employers and to give us recommended updates and suggestions for any changes. We have also asked that they conduct a market study using the updated classifications and make any recommendations to wage changes, as well as to look at our current compensation structure, pay plans, and pay practices, and make appropriate changes for contemporary pay practices that will keep us in terms of making us more able to recruit talented applicants as well as retention. At the end of the study, the consultants will present their findings and recommendations to the board, to our elected officials, employees, as well as our labor organizations and partners. And if authorized, the study will begin as soon as possible, no later than March, and it is slated to take 9 to 10 months. With that, do you have any questions?
Commissioner Edwards.
No questions, sir.
I don't have any questions. I know this is I know from speaking with employees, this is an issue of great interest. And I think that it's overdue, and I'm glad we'll be able to get this process moving forward. So thank you, Maria.
Great, thank you.
I'm ready for a motion on this one.
Yes, sir. And I guess prior to my motion, I would point out for those, especially new folks, but people that are watching out there, that if they have a concern about any of these issues that we're voting on today, we had a discussion on each one of these issues, including the consent items, this morning at our 9 o'clock meeting until, I think, 11:30. So if anybody has any concerns, that's the reason that oftentimes we don't have any discussion at that point. We've really covered it, and Maria, I want to thank you for your effort on that. And I am prepared to make a motion, sir.
Go for it.
I would move to award a contract for classification and compensation study for a move to approve a professional services contract with the Siegel Company Incorporated to conduct a comprehensive classification and compensation study in the amount of $170,000 and authorize the Director of the Human Resources Department to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
I second that motion. So we have a motion that's been seconded regarding awarding a contract for compensation classification study. Any further discussion on that motion?
No, sir.
I would just add to Commissioner Edwards' point that not only each item is usually covered twice, actually, the morning before the afternoon hearing, as well as the week before, so that it can make sure that it's ready for inclusion on the proposed agenda. So either of those, and it's often the first work session the week before where the more in-depth discussion happens. Not always, but sometimes if people are really looking for the board chewing on something, it's that first presentation, which often happens a week before the items on the agenda. Anyway, so it's been moved and seconded, and without further discussion, we will call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, and I look forward to starting the communication around this. Have a great afternoon.
Item 5A is information technology, renewal of Microsoft support agreement for technical assistance. Dennis Osorio, IT Director. Good afternoon, Dennis.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Dennis Osorio, IT Director. I'm here seeking approval of a sole source professional services contract with Microsoft Unified Support Services for the amount of $81,731, and that is for a one-year term. Sorry, my screen all red. I don't know. It seems like my camera's going out. So sorry about the hint, the tantrum.
This is such a hot item.
Yeah, look at that. I don't know what happened. So just to give some background on this, this allows the county to get top tier support services for all of our core products that we use from Microsoft, such as Office 365, Windows, SharePoint, SQL Server, as well as Windows Server. This also allows us, for any hours that are not used, is to get training from Microsoft for all those same products, as well as do proactive support. So whether we need to do design, security audits, or anything along those lines, specifically with Microsoft on those support items. We have been using this, we've been coming every year to get this renewed since 2014 and have used all of the support hours every single year since then. And just really sets up the county and all the IT staff for success, as these products are always changing and new things are always happening in technology. If there's any questions.
Commissioner Edwards, any questions for Dennis?
No, sir.
Okay, me neither. I'm ready for motion.
I would move to waive competitive bidding requirements and approve the sole source professional services contract with Microsoft Unified Support Services for $81,731 for a one-year term for technical assistance with Microsoft systems and software, and authorize the Information Technology Director to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
I'll second that. So we have a motion and a second regarding renewal of this support agreement. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you.
Next is Public Health and Social Services, item 6A, Interagency Agreement with Washington State Department of Health for TriLakes groundwater study. And Stuart Whitford, Environmental Health Program Manager, here to give us a little bit of detail on what this item entails.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm excited to be here today. So today I'm requesting authorization to execute an interagency agreement between the Washington State Department of Health and Thurston County Public Health and Social Services for the TriLakes groundwater project. The project is budgeted at $116,425. It is a direct grant from the State Department of Health and a partnership between CPED, Washington State Department of Health, and local public health here in Thurston County. The project is designed to calibrate the groundwater flow and transport model for the TriLakes area and make a first assessment of the location and severity of potential groundwater contaminant impacts. The modeling would allow prioritization of investigative sampling and provide an early warning system for public drinking water systems. As part of this project, Public Health will be working with private owners to sample up to 60 wells and 20 surface water sites, looking at E. coli bacteria and nitrates as the primary parameters. These types of studies are required by local on-site sewage code, section 16.35. And the purpose of that is to protect our groundwater sources in Thurston County. So today I'm asking for authorization to proceed with this contract.
Commissioner Edwards?
I I guess I would just verify for the public that the TriLakes consists of Patterson, Long Lake, and Hicks Lake general area.
Yes.
Thank you.
Stuart, I don't think you discussed this, but how did these three lakes get identified as, like, is there problems, historical problems with these lakes, or are they just kind of picked out as a pilot, or why are we doing these three?
I think it's, that would be a question for, for a hydrogeologist, and I'm relatively new, so I can't answer that question. My guess is they're considered kind of a combination part of of the groundwater system that need to be evaluated in a holistic fashion versus looking at them, individually. So that would be my guess.
I know that they're kind of in somewhat developed areas. Maybe that's, kind of the focus is looking at, the potential impacts on groundwater of all the development activity.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly. The project is designed to see, our on-site sewage systems in these locations having an impact on these, in this area. And if there is a measured impact, then the next question will be, what actions, do we need to take to ameliorate those impacts? And so this is just the data gathering phase at this point in time.
Okay, is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the interagency agreement contract, GSV 26464, with the Washington State Department of Health for the TriLakes groundwater study for an amount not to exceed $116,425 for the term of July 10th, 2021 to December 31st, 2022, for collection of groundwater quality and surface water quality data, and authorize the county manager to sign the agreement as interim director of the Environmental Health Division of Public Health and Social Services Department.
I'll second that motion. So it's been moved and seconded to approve this interagency agreement. Any further discussion on the motion?
No, sir.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Stuart. Okay, our final two items are public works items today. First is request for proposal for a landfill groundwater reporting services contract. Jeff Beckford from Solid Waste Manager from Public Works is here to present a background.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here today for Public Works is requesting that the Board of County Commissioners approve issuance of a request for proposals for landfill groundwater reporting services. Let me give you a little background about that. The Solid Waste Division maintains the old closed Hawks Prairie landfill, which is at the Waste and Recovery Center in Lacey, right off of I-5. That landfill was covered and closed back in April of 2000. The closed landfill is maintained by the county and is currently monitored and controlled in accordance with regulatory post-closure reporting requirements as required by Washington Administrative Code, particularly in respect to groundwater leachate that's related to that facility. So our staff is responsible for the collection of groundwater samples from that closed landfill, and we have those samples tested by an accredited analytical lab underneath another agreement. But the county is required to file quarterly and annual reports of these results with the Department of Ecology in compliance with our regulatory requirements. So the county requires groundwater reporting services for this data to have these reports prepared for submittal. So we anticipate that we're going to continue to need to do this for the full 30 years of post-closure care that we're required to perform under our closure permit. So we're only 22 years into that, so we have many more years that we'll need to continue to do this. To procure these services, we're requesting that the board allow us to submit a request for proposals for these landfill groundwater reporting services. Again, the RFP process will allow us to show some competition and hopefully get to better pricing, et cetera, based upon that. So upon receipt of these proposals, we'll review them, score them, and of course, once a contractor has been chosen, ultimately it will come back to the Board of County Commissioners for approval of a contract for that. So with that, I'd be willing to answer any other questions.
Okay, Commissioner Edwards?
No other questions, sir.
Okay, very good. Ready for motion.
I would move to authorize Public Works to issue a request for proposal for landfill groundwater reporting for the closed landfill located at the Thurston County Waste and Recovery Center.
I'll second that. Been moved and seconded to issue this RFP for landfill groundwater reporting. Any further discussion on the motion?
No, sir.
Nope. Okay, call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Final business item is also Public Works contract award for biosolids hauling and disposal services. Joe Plahuta, Senior Water Resources Engineer from Public Works. Good afternoon, Joe.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Public Works is requesting authorization to award a contract for biosolids hauling and disposal services to Tribeca Transport of Woodland, Washington for the amount of $750,000 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and amendments for up to a 10% additional contingency, approve option extensions, and approve subsequent work orders. So a little background on this. Public Works owns and operates 3 activated sludge wastewater treatment plants located at Grand Mound, Tam-O-Shan, and Boston Harbor. These wastewater treatment plants currently produce roughly 30 to 50 dry tons of biosolids annually. Biosolids are the product of the wastewater treatment process and are hauled and disposed of off-site from the wastewater treatment plants. The 2 sequencing batch reactor plants located at Tam-O-Shan and Boston Harbor are operated to treat sewage and septic tank effluent from their respective service areas. Sludge is then transported to the county's larger Grand Mound wastewater treatment plant or to other area wastewater treatment plants for further treatment. The Grand Mound wastewater treatment plant has the capacity to produce Class B biosolids, which do have detectable pathogen levels, and then must be provided with either additional treatment or disposed of through land application at a licensed land application facility. Ultimately, all biosolids produced by the county are removed and transported for beneficial use or for further treatment. Public Works does not have the resources in-house to perform transportation of biosolids. However, these services are required by the county on a recurring basis. So award of this biosolids hauling and disposal contract will allow the county to meet its ongoing operational needs. On December 23rd, 2021, one proposal for biosolids hauling services was received from Tribeca Transport. This was in response to a request for proposals that was advertised in November of 2021 in both the Olympian and on Thurston County's webpage. Public Works evaluated this proposal and scored it based on contractor qualifications, experience, past performance references, key personnel and project team, technical approach, environmental sustainability, and rate structure for the hauling and disposal services. The award to Tribeca Transport will allow for continued hauling and disposal of biosolids with rates guaranteed by contract. The term of the contract will be a maximum of 5 years, consisting of a 1-year base period and then 4 one-year renewal options. The maximum ceiling amount of the contract will be $750,000 initially, with opportunities for increases in future option years if required. Funds will be obligated upon issuance of work orders and paid through revenues from the respective utilities. This action is consistent with the county's strategic plan and is in alignment with Initiative 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community. So again, Public Works is requesting authorization to award a contract for biosolids hauling services to Tribeca Transport.
Commissioner Edwards, questions?
I don't have any questions, sir, but I do have a comment prior to making a motion.
Okay, I don't know that I do. I'll go ahead with your comment.
I intend on making this motion only because we can't not have this service available to us. And we've had several discussions about this particular topic. I'm not entirely thrilled with the disposing of this product the way we're currently doing it. And I'm asking that we have further discussions to see if we can't come up with a better way to do business for our community and the environment. So realizing that we can't quit midstream and that this is an ongoing activity, I'm ready to make a motion, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
I would move to award the contract for biosolids hauling and disposal services to Tribeca Transport LLC of Woodland, Washington for the amount of $750,000 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and amendments for up to 10% additional contingency, $75,000, or a total $825,000. Approve option extensions and approve subsequent work orders.
Second. So that motion's been seconded, and it's to award this contract for biosolids hauling and disposal. Any further discussion before the vote?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, commissioners.
Item 8A is for commissioners to report on board work sessions, committee meetings, or community actions of any kind. Commissioner Edwards.
I don't have any assignment reports to give, but I am going to ask the county manager to put the testing mandate issue brought forward by Jodie Elliott today on our discussion for next Tuesday, February 22nd, our 9 o'clock meeting on agenda setting. That's my only issue today, sir.
Okay. I will keep it short. I attended, there was a lot meeting where we brought in 2 new board members out of 4 and laid out a work plan for 2022. Had a chance to testify before the Senate Transportation Committee regarding the transportation package, Keep Washington Moving, which included $75 million for the Nisqually Bridge, which was one of our key legislative priorities for Thurston County. Attended meeting regarding the implementation of the Board of Health expansion, 1152 as it's known from the House bill number. I've met with RIA 13 stakeholders regarding the ongoing effort to try to lift up a Deschutes Watershed Council and brainstorming ideas there. And there should be a stakeholder meeting coming up on that issue shortly. Meetings with leaders from Tumwater and Lacey about the issues of COVID restrictions and public meetings and the various issues surrounding that, about trying to coordinate how we're doing it, what we're doing, and what's the right way to get kind of back to normal as best we can as we move forward. Those are the key issues for my week. So with that, I'll go to 8B, which is the county manager reviewing our combined schedule.
Thank you, Commissioner. Starting today, February 15th, after you conclude this meeting, you have nothing else on your combined schedule. And the upcoming meetings, as part of my report, is where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. Wednesday, February 16th at noon, you have a joint meeting with the county elected officials. Followed at 1 in the afternoon, February 16th, you have an update from Superior Court. At 5:30 in the afternoon is the Intercity Transit meeting, and I believe Commissioner Menzer is sitting on behalf of Commissioner Mejia during her absence. Thursday, February 17th, Commissioner Menzer, Commissioner Edwards will participate at 1 in the afternoon in the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization Board meeting that is going to be located in the 612 Woodland Square Loop Southeast, Suite 401 in Lacey, Washington. And at 3:30 in the afternoon, I believe Commissioner Mensah will be attending on behalf of Commissioner Mejia on the February election canvassing board meeting.
Actually, Commissioner Edwards is covering that one.
Commissioner Edwards, and you cover on Friday.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I got it reversed. Thank you, Commissioner Edwards will be attending that on Thursday. And on Friday, February 18th, you have been invited to participate at 8 in the morning to the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative. Is a virtual meeting. And 1 in the afternoon, Commissioner Mensah will attend on behalf of Commissioner Mejia at 1 in the afternoon, the February election canvassing board meeting certification. Moving on to next week, Monday, February 21st, the courthouse campus is closed in observance of the President's Day's holiday. And then on Tuesday, February 22nd, 9 in the morning, you will have the regular agenda setting. 2 in the afternoon, the Board of County Commissioners, followed by 2 public hearings related to 1, an application of Elk Inlet Community Water Association non-inclusive franchise, followed by the second public hearing related to a Scott Lake Maintenance Company for a non-exclusive franchise. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else for good of the order, Commissioner Edwards?
No, sir.
Okay, with that, we're adjourned today. Thank you.
Thank you.